Can you hear us and can you see us clearly?
I can see you, I can hear you. Can
Oh
you
my
see and hear me?
goodness. Yes, we can. Hello, Luke.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for your
I like
patience.
that.
Hey Luke,
No
how's it going?
problem, no problem. Nikolai, how you doing? Did I
I'm
get your
doing.
name right there?
Yeah, you did.
I did that. Fantastic. Guys, so just again to give you some context, a couple of months ago we spoke to Roxanne just about her journey in terms of modeling, acting, even how you got into DJ, and really how to build your brand and how to be authentic to yourself in that process as well. And even just this week going through that conversation and building on that, I'm really excited, Nikolai, to have you with us this evening, because it really takes, I think, an amazing man to be next to an amazing young woman as well. And just the partnership that you guys have. I've been watching you guys. I know you started a YouTube channel, and we'll get into all of that in a bit. But let's start at the beginning. How are you guys? How has it been since the last time we spoke?
I am doing good. I can't complain. I don't think there's any point in it. I feel like every day you take it as it comes and you see everything that you're blessed with. You can't go wrong.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean everything has been great. It's kind of the silver lining because you see the temperature of the world with this global pandemic, and you see how people's families are going awry and relationships are getting tested. And honestly, I feel like our journey to get Roxanne and her daughter here in America has absolutely prepared us for any global pandemic. Because I mean, it's been fine. I mean, there's a little bit of a fear like everybody else, but as far as having each other's company, we've experienced so much. It's not too. It's
I
not
think
too
we're
bad.
doing well.
Yeah.
We've definitely made the most of the situation, I think.
And so, Roxanne, I want to touch on something that where we sort of ended off the last time we spoke. Just two things. So we ended off the last time we spoke about, we spoke a bit about how supportive your family and your mother was specifically. But you also touched on an extremely important point about doing everything with love. And just the world needs, especially during this time, to be able to interact with one another through love and with love. And I think that's so important. And we spoke a bit about the relationships that we have, and then that's why I'm really so glad and excited to have Nikolai with us. So you guys have started a YouTube channel talking about your journey, obviously bringing Roxanne and her daughter over to the States, but there's also been some travel vlogs. And my personal favorite, Nikolai, I'd love for you to chat about this, and maybe we can get into this first. Roxanne cut your hair.
Yes.
That
Talk to me about the stress and the anxiety and the not
That's
so fun part
funny.
of that, if any.
Yeah, it was a little bit much. I mean, my hair is super long now, but even when my hair has been buzz cut, I feel like a lot of guys, their hair is precious to them, and I'm very particular about my hair, especially because it's kind of my art as well. I've been cutting hair since I was in high school. So I am very particular about how I want it when I go to a professional. I'm particular about how they cut it. And so and now my hair is so long, I feel like, man, it's my baby. If she messes it up, like, I'm just gonna have to cut it all off.
or hide it because
Or
you
hide
won't
it.
really see if I was to mess up.
But I thought it was a great way to test and to show our communication skills, because cutting hair is my craft. I thought, you know,
Yes.
I would be able to do a basic step by step. And because of her, you know, her creativity and her artistic side, I knew that she probably wouldn't struggle with it too much. It's just a matter of being able to follow instructions.
And how did I do?
She did very good. She did
Faded.
very good.
Yeah.
Faded.
Hated.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And so, I mean, that's great. And it's exercises like that that I think have really helped build what I can see is a really strong foundation for your relationship. And so, for our viewers this evening, maybe if you can just give us some context into, you know, how you guys met and your journey together.
Sure. Do you want to do that briefly?
Yeah, I was in Cape Town for season. I was living in New York at the time, and I had an opportunity to go work in Cape Town during their, you know, peak season. And while I was there, the, you know, second
night.
the second night, one of the local models was taking out a lot of the international models, and we happened to go into the club that Roxanne was working at, and there was a mutual friend, the person that was taking us out, knew Roxy, and he did the formal introduction, and that kind of was just the start of, you know, our relationship. There was, you know, instant chemistry, obviously an instant attraction, and a want to, you know, explore who this person is. And, you know, what started as her just being a contact or somebody that can show me around, you know, Cape Town flourished into a beautiful relationship, and
now we're married.
Married.
And how many years or how long have you been married for?
Oh,
So February, in two months?
yeah, in February it'll be
3 months time. It'll be 2 years.
Right.
So we're 3 months short of 2 years, and we met all the way back in 2015. So it's about to be 6 years next year.
Yeah, we did long distance for 4 years, and then so it'll be 2 years, so six years in total. When I think about it,
Seems long.
it seems a long time. I feel like time flies, but that doesn't feel like it's been 6 years. It doesn't.
The time apart probably felt like the longest,
for sure,
because it was just like a waiting game constantly.
but the fact that
But we've already been married for about 2 years, so that's...
and the fact that you've been here 2 years, that part is like, whoa to me.
I just made 2 years in Los Angeles last week, so...
Fantastic. And maybe let's get into that a little bit. Just about, so you've started this YouTube channel now, and we got into one of the aspects of one of the videos with you cutting Nikolai's hair. But just in terms of the videos about your journey, I mean, watching some of them earlier this week, you know, there were times where you really needed to get vulnerable with each other, and even in front of the camera as well, to speak about really how you were feeling and bringing that authenticity through of your experience of being not only in a long distance relationship, but to be able to play the waiting game, as you said, with your documents, and there was a whole bunch of other elements that sort of came into that.
Yes.
So let's, if we can, just touch on a few key elements of that journey, and really, you know, how you guys made it through that, and what some of the core values that kept you together during that time was. I know that was a question, you know, but I mean, take it away.
One of the things and then I'll let you speak a little. One of the things with creating our brand and being able to publicize it a little bit with, you know, the social media platforms, with Instagram and YouTube, one of the things that's allowed our authenticity is the fact that we're not learning on the spot. Everything that we're done and we're willing to share, we've worked out behind closed doors in the privacy, of our home. So there's a level of trust and comfort that when we come to the table, whether it's live or pre-recorded, that we're not talking about or hashing out something that hasn't already been resolved or worked through. So having that comfort and knowing that we respect each other and there's things that we've worked on that we're not going to put out there that we haven't already discussed, just makes us feel safe and
willing to share. Because sometimes going through it and you don't have all the answers, you kind of wish that someone was out there that who possibly was going through the same thing that you could learn from. And I feel like now that we started doing that, even before we went live with the channel, there were questions that we would get from different people who may have been in a similar situation but who knew us personally. Now we have the chance to share what we went through, what we've learned, and help people, or at least try and offer advice in the same space when they're going through very similar things. But the people that are now watching our channel are from all over the world, with no direct relationship to us. So I think core values during that time, that is not only something that we can take away, but something that continues to be in our relationship, is, I would say, number one, trust and communication would be like my top ones.
Yeah, so I think communication, just by that introduction, has been such an important aspect of your relationship, not only together, but just building that relationship. And I feel it's such an important point, and I want to get stuck into it a bit more, because how do you communicate with somebody, one that is on the other side of the world? There's obviously, we have WhatsApp calls, we have Instagram lives now, we have all these different things, but there needs to be that sense of, like you say, trust and safety within each other. And that was another important point where you spoke about dealing with things in private before bringing it onto a platform where you then can help everyone else.
Also, with communication to me is really vague. It's to me, that's like the no-brainer. Like, obviously you have to communicate, but it's like you were saying, with us being a long distance, how and which are you communicating? And I think one of the defining pieces for our relationship that really allowed it to flourish and grow from a distance was the fact that we were able, in some weird way, to kind of create a relationship dynamic that was as though we weren't separated. So, we would go to the lengths of, when she was going out to dinner with girlfriends, or if I was going out with some buddies, we would be on FaceTime and we would introduce the people that we were with to the phone. This is my boyfriend. This is my, girlfriend. People probably were like, this is a little bit weird, but...
And how long will it last for?
Yeah, but that's as specific as we were with trying to create, some type of normalcy in this long distance relationship. And that went from like creating routine, which you should do in relationships regardless. And we knew our schedules. We would wake each other up, or we would put each other to bed by saying good night. We would create these relationship routines that gave us comfort, and it gave us that trust value that this relationship is authentic and real.
And the reassurance and the willingness that both people have to want to see something through, because there's going to be times in the relationship where one feels like, or one is actually putting in more effort or carrying most of the load, because that's the balance that you deal with on a daily basis. It's a give and take, but at the end of the day, when you both want something to work and you want to see it through till the end, that energy is matched, and that is super important.
I think that's the really important points that you brought up, Leanna. Just also touching on, you guys are saying, you get into a routine. That must have been really difficult being on opposite ends of the world as well. So understanding the time differences and sort of working your days around that as well. And so, I mean, I want to just come back a little bit because I think it's a really interesting topic. So I know communication is vague, but how do you, especially when you are feeling, or you maybe just having a really bad day, was it just that reassurance from your partner that really put things into perspective again, or was there something specific? Because now I'm thinking, I mean, if you were introducing your friends to your phone, do you then buy a flower and say, oh, I bought a flower for you, or do all those type of things and get really practical? Were there any other practical points that you sort of used, particularly when the other person wasn't having the greatest day?
Roxy learned from me. I'm extremely
what did I learn?
Verbal. I over communicate.
Yeah.
That's the romantic in me. So we got started sending each other voice notes. We would send each other
the video diaries.
Yeah, video diaries where it's whether we're in the car, sending each other a message on the way somewhere. Taking time to just do temperature checks of the relationship, sending long, 12-minute voice notes of how we're feeling, whether maybe we just that's a lot of times that's how we argue too. Like if we were working through an argument, sending voice notes expressing how we felt or how the situation made us feel or how the other person made us feel, and we would rectify our differences that way. But sending long voice messages, that constant validation, I mean, when that you have that much distance, I think you need that reassurance. So it was my efforts to constantly make videos just to express my affection for Roxanne, and then she reciprocated.
And sometimes one partner maybe there are going to be times when one partner feels less, not motivated, but because of everything we went through, I know there were moments when I was feeling either low in optimism for what was ahead, or maybe low in my faith, or low, just there was a drop in some emotion that I was feeling, and in those moments you lifted me up, and vice versa. I feel like, because
for sure
so many roadblocks we kept hitting, and some people may look at it and be like, wow, at this point I may have thrown in the towel,
and I would have. At my core, I've been a little bit of a pessimist. It's not my best characteristic trait, and so being in relationships when having so many roadblocks come your way, naturally for me is like, maybe it's a sign. This is, maybe it's not supposed to be. And I think that constant reassurance, and if Roxy was somebody that kind of met me at that pessimism, it wouldn't probably have worked. But she is so positive, even maybe if she was also in denial herself, it never read that way. And so she was always able to allow me to see the better good in the relationship, or to see,
you just hold on to the hope, not let go of it.
And I think the last time we spoke as well, Roxanne, something that sort of stayed with me, and I know a lot of our viewers as well, you said something that was so simple, but you spoke about the attitude of gratitude, and really just being grateful for the things that you have. And so, Nikolai, when you're speaking about, the optimism or the positivity coming from Roxanne, that was something, Roxanne, that you developed way before the relationship, and it was sort of part of your core values and your core system that you then brought into
Yes,
the relationship.
that's correct.
And so, speaking about or challenges or little things that you guys have faced, I mean, so you've been to, I think it was Mexico. Have you guys recently been to Mexico?
Yes.
Where you did the travel vlogs on just so you travel together a lot, and you know sometimes it becomes difficult, or it becomes a bit challenging because you're traveling in and around, and you know you sometimes you maybe just want to relax, and Nikolai maybe just wants to explore, do something. You guys have that understanding of, okay, we don't have to do everything together, or do you sort of compromise in that space, or what do you use, or what do you go to?
When it comes to travel, we've been really fortunate because we're almost one of the same when it comes to our interest of traveling, of exploration, with the proper balance of calm and relaxation. So it I'm really fortunate that I've met somebody that has met me almost right there. There's not a lot of compromise I have to make when it comes to vacationing. But outside of vacationing, absolutely, we have our differences. We give each other the space to move and operate in the things that bring us joy individually. But there's also, I think, a respect for each other's individual fun, and I think we both do a good job of taking on or participating in each other's interests just to be a part of it, even if it's not something that we fully enjoy. But then we also give each other opportunity to have fun and explore those interests alone as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's really so important. Is sometimes being in a relationship context, we forget that we are individuals first, and then you come, you start off as an individual, and you have your core values, and when you meet somebody, that connection then becomes part, or comes from that connecting on your core values or on a deeper level. And so, sort of just understanding and getting a bit more of an insight into the relationship dynamic. Roxanne, I'm going to go back to our conversation again because there were so many good points that we had there. You really spoke about, amongst everything else that you were doing, whether it was the modeling, the DJing, everything else, you really were focused on taking over the world and doing everything that you set your mind to.
Yes.
And so, Nikolai, from your side, and I'm sure, again, the dynamic is shared here. When you partner someone like that, someone with a mentality of, everything I set my mind to, I'm going out and I'm getting and I'm achieving, someone that's focused and driven, and I'm 100% sure that you are too, otherwise she would not have been with you. And so, how do you partner that, and how do you allow someone, just from both perspectives, to pursue that on their own, but also in the relationship context, when you come together and you say, well, this is what I'd like to achieve together, outside of our individual interests? I don't know if I was clear.
Yeah, support, honestly, is, I would say, the most important. I'm Roxanne's biggest cheerleader. I want her to win. There's no competition in the household. I want her to win in every aspect of her life, all her endeavors. And one of the things that attracted me to her was her ambition and her drive for success. And I think it's very similar in the sense that we both have set goals for ourselves and for our family. And I think we push each other individually to explore those goals despite fears or anything else. We really do a good job of pushing one another. And I think one of the key components now that we're married is that despite how driven we are for success and for accomplishing individual goals, it never seems to trump the collective or the family. We still center everything around the family. We put the family first, but we know that, you know, if time has to stray into something else, it's okay. But we always, our foundation is our family.
True. I second that. I think the support is so important, as well as encouragement, because even if you have a goal and a dream for yourself, you there may be days where your energy is lacking, or you've hit a wall or a roadblock, or it's just not as, you don't have that same energy that you had, you know, maybe the week before. So it's really important for both of us to also have an interest in seeing our significant other succeed, because at the end of the day, this is something that your partner holds close to their heart, or it's in their mind. And being in a relationship with someone, there is a sense of responsibility that you have on your shoulders to also show them their best self. So there are going to be days where you don't feel like your best, where you don't want to necessarily give your best. But when you allow, or when you encourage and support your partner to do what needs to be done in order to see their dreams come to fruition, then not only does it sort of ignite something within them and allow them to see their goals to the end, but at the end of the day, it's going to come back to the relationship, and that win, that individual win becomes a collective win. So it's a win-win at the end of the day. Like, if things don't go well for your partner, you may also take that on, and then, you know, you pick it up and you try again.
Definitely. I do think a little competition is healthy, though. Is there maybe like a dish in the kitchen that both of you make, that you always sort of fighting about or comparing, like which dish is better? Or
well, I'm super competitive by nature. But I was just speaking in terms of, you know, things of substance, of importance. But yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll joke around and say I'm a better cook, or
better driver.
Yeah, for sure. When I eat board games and stuff like that, I wanna win.
Yeah, of course. And is there so who is the better cook? Can I get is there a straight outright answer?
No,
is it
there isn't a straight right answer, because we bring different things to the table. If I'm going to be in the kitchen and I know, okay, I'm in the mood to make something that I know they'll enjoy, Nico won't necessarily make the same thing, you know, if the tables were turned.
I'm the most creative, because like cooking to me is relatively new, and then I just started getting inspiration with like different dishes would come up, and I'd want to try it out. But I think I would give Roxy the win for
what?
Like if we had to make our best dish, I think she probably I don't know.
I love that my husband cooks. I love that he wants to cook. It's just like I'm winning. I can't.
Of course. Is there a bit of that Cape Malay flavors that come into your cooking, or?
Definitely, that Cape Malay flavors is there. It's really difficult to try and kind of ingredient for ingredient make the dishes that I grew up on, or you know, enjoyed at family and friends. But sometimes sometimes I eat it very, very close to that 100% mark. I feel like my mother, my grandmother, all of my family would be proud. I actually just made biryani for the first time um, in Los
Fantastic.
Angeles. And I am very impressed with myself, which is the rice and lentils and meat dish.
Yeah, that was
And
very good.
I made tomato sambal, so tomato, onion, just like, Cape Town style.
It worked.
It was
Yeah.
good. Actually, now my daughter's, she keeps nagging like, when are you gonna make it again? It's biryani takes a long time to cook. When you make the food you grew up on, your appreciation and your respect is just heightened for how often you had those meals and who was cooking them in your house.
Definitely.
It's a love
And
language.
so, guys, yeah, just, I mean, talking to you again this evening, as we sort of just slowly wrap things up. Again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you so much for speaking very openly about your relationship and about the dynamics. And also, I think we got into one or two of the fun stuff as well with your traveling and your YouTube channel. Just before we head off, maybe just tell the viewers and our guests, a bit more about the YouTube channel and what you have coming up in the near future. And then also just any advice for those couples that are either doing long distance relationship or even just struggling during this pandemic, something that's really helped you guys through. Yeah.
You wanna speak about the YouTube channel? Or shall I?
You go ahead.
Okay, so for our YouTube channel, we actually thought about sharing it in terms of having it on an Instagram platform and a YouTube, or at least even a podcast. We had spoken about these things many years before and had already started recording ourselves doing short videos, vlogs. I mean, we never called them vlogs when we were doing it, but we did all of these things from when we met in 2015. So a lot of it started out of intention and the desire to document what was happening. And now our YouTube channel finally launched in August of this year. It's called On The Go with Nico Docs, because essentially we would be on the go whenever we were together. The first time Nico and I met, he was only in South Africa for 2 months.
2 months.
Every other time
Sure.
could be considered an adventure. We were either in New York or in Cape Town, in Spain, Los Angeles,
Spain,
literally
Thailand.
we were all over. So I feel like that hashtag was fitting, and the name of our channel is also very fitting. And we would organically want to share our experience of whether it's restaurants or hotel stays, resorts, lifestyle type feel good content was always at the center and at the core of what we were doing. So that is what our YouTube channel is about. It covers everything from lifestyle to the travel vlogs to
Yeah, we really want to explore and share the things that bring us joy. And I think
Yes.
that's, people always talk about, finding something that you're passionate about, that you enjoy, and that you can also monetize or get paid for, and then it doesn't feel like work. And so that was really our ultimate goal. We're both foodies. We love to explore different cultures. We have rich palates and we like to try different foods. So we just thought that it would be awesome to share our experiences with the different restaurants that we go to, or with our love for travel, to be able to share with the public our experiences of our different destinations, where we're going next. And really it comes down to sharing. We want to share our experiences with the public, and it's all tailored to the things that bring us joy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think lastly, one of the best parts about our branding, what we want to share, is the power of the millennial marriage. I feel like older generations, look at marriage as like just the thing to do. Like when I talk to elderly people or even like my parents, it's like, oh, don't do it. Like it's hard. And I think that there is a coolness to marriage that we want to share to millennials, that you can have fun. It can still be sexy. It can still be, spontaneous, even though you're married. So those are all the things that we value and that we just want to share with our audience.
Yeah, and we've also created our podcast, which is called Going the Distance with Nico Docs. Essentially, that would be about our journey doing long distance for those close to 4 years. And we also would always record visuals and video footage whenever we did a podcast recording. So that also lives on our YouTube channel. So whether you are more of a visual person, you can go and watch that behind the scenes video, or you can just head over to Spotify or Anchor and listen to it while multitasking. It's kind of the best of both worlds. We have recently wrapped up season 1, which established what our story was about from meeting to present time. So after lockdown even happened, and then season 2 is coming for sure. What do you think people that are embarking on a long distance relationship or maybe going through something, what advice would you have for them? Because that was the other question.
For advice, well, relationships in general, I would like to say, try to find somebody that you match with core values. Core values are very important. You want to make sure that those are as closely in line with each other, because I feel like those are the things that usually can create conflict or tension in the relationship. So trying to find somebody that, your core values are in line, and then also someone you just genuinely enjoy being around, a friend. I think it's not cliche when people say like, oh, that you want to marry your best friend, but I think there is truth to it. I think you want to marry somebody that you really just on a friendship level enjoy being
you
around.
You want to be around them, because it can easily go south. Little things annoy us, like I annoy Nico and vice versa, and that's just a natural way of human beings. You are different. But if you are genuinely friends or best friends with your partner, I feel like that can really, really be beneficial to the overall relationship.
Right. And then as far as long distance, creating routine, planning, making sure that there's a goal at the end, that two people aren't just going through the motions of a long distance thinking, okay, maybe there's no end to this. Always projecting or setting goals for when the next time you're going to see each other, when the long distance is going to end.
Who's going to make the move? Because somebody has to move. So maybe that should be a thought early on in the relationship. We actually did, we have written an article which is titled, I guess, our top 10 tips on doing long distance. And it lives on the blacklove.com page. But if anyone is interested in reading that article, they can just drop us a message and we'll share that link for sure. It's a pretty well written article.
Yeah. It's thorough, it's in depth, yeah.
And then they can also listen, sorry to break your word, Luke, they can listen to our podcast or just reach out to us, because we actually do spend time engaging and sharing more in-depth answers to questions that people may have.
That's brilliant. I think, so we'll share the YouTube, and I think if you can just send that link to the article to us as well, we'll share it on our platform. So just an idea, I have absolutely no idea how you create a YouTube channel, no real desire to start one, but as a suggestion, I mean, a haircut was done by one person to another person. Has it been done in the opposite direction as well? Nikolai, have you cut Roxanne's hair as well?
He hasn't cut my
I
hair.
haven't cut it.
By accident, he did though.
I style it. I know.
No, let's talk about that incident where you cut my hair by accident because you weren't wearing
I was
your
getting.
glasses.
I wasn't wearing my glasses, and I think I was getting impatient.
You was
with
taking out my weave,
Yeah.
and it was the first time I had a full weave in my hair in the States. How ironic is that? But I couldn't deal with it. The pain was too intense. I think my hair was braided in a beehive,
Yeah, it was
so
a
it's like a
beehive.
circle all around your head until the center, and you literally, because the weave is sewn in, you have to cut the threads. And so I can't see behind my head, so obviously my husband was happy enough and willing enough to cut it out for me. And then when I washed my head,
Yeah, because the thread.
It's the same color as my hair.
Yeah,
I know
like-
it's difficult,
I mean,
but maybe some additional lighting. Right in the center, my hair was much shorter. Oh my gosh.
I couldn't see it.
Luckily, there's this much, so even when that happens, no one will know, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But he has actually, Nico has styled my hair quite a bit on vacation. He tends to know how to bring the curls to life.
I love that. Guys, thank you so much once again for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Nikolai, amazing to spend some time with you, and Roxanne, good seeing you again.
Yeah,
Catch us
absolutely.
next week, Wednesday, 7:30, live with 5E every Wednesday. Guys,
Thank you
thank
so
again.
much.